This is Scott Kaplan and Crew Tonight. The very best from today's Scott Kaplan and Crew show on the mightier 1090 AM ESPN Radio. SoCal Sports Talk. Here's Scott Kaplan, Alex Padilla, and John Browner.
Hey, great friends. What's going on? It's Monday afternoon. This is Kaplan and Crew with Grande and the Brown Man. I want to say to everybody who right now is listening on traditional, terrestrial, old school AM radio, today's the day where you got to come over to the YouTube side of things, because we're going to try something today that we've never really done quite like this before. I'll explain in just a matter of moments. And by the way, what I'm about to explain, if it works out really well, we'll throw it on TV on Cox YurView and we'll put it all over the state of California. If it's not really good, or if everybody starts cursing like crazy, we're going to have to just leave it on YouTube. I'll explain in 1 second. So everybody listening on radio, people tonight on TV, all of our YouTuber chatlins, and all of our audio podcast listeners, glad you guys are here on Monday. Grande, Brown Man, as we welcome people into the 7 Mile Casino Studios, let me tell you guys something. There is trouble in River City, buddy.
Where's that?
I don't actually know. I think it's just kind of like an old saying that my dad used to say all the time.
River City.
River City. River City. Google it, man.
What state is that in?
I don't know, dude. But there's trouble in River City, buddy. The Padres, and we talked about this on Friday just as we were going off the air. I said, guys, make a prediction for the weekend. And I think both of you guys said the Padres would win the series 2 out of 3. I think.
Yep.
I know I said the Padres would lose the series, but I was wrong. I think I said the Padres were going to lose 2 out of 3, and they got swept. And let me tell you something. I know a lot of people are talking about it from this perspective. When the Padres beat the Dodgers in San Diego last Friday night, and after the game, the Clayton Kershaw meme up on the Friar Vision and the tear running down the face, and how the Padres haven't won a game against the Dodgers since. They've lost 5 straight. I don't think that the Clayton Kershaw meme is why you lose, obviously. But it is a slight indication of how the Padres feel organizationally, I think, which is we've already arrived. I just want to remind the Padre organization, and I'm going to talk about, because I have somebody close on the inside who has told me some things that I'm pretty surprised by, related to, we out here celebrate Peter Seidler. There are some people on the inside that are like, I'm not really sure what he's doing. And by the way, if it all doesn't work out, don't blame AJ Preller. Blame Peter Seidler. Or praise Peter Seidler, should it all work out. And AJ Preller.
What?
This is all funny to me. Honestly, this whole weekend was just hilarious, because this reminds me of week 1 Monday morning quarterbacking, when an expected maybe Super Bowl champion loses week 1 and everybody starts freaking out. Listen, what changed this weekend that you hadn't seen all year? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. The Padres starters gave you solid outings.
Mm-hmm.
The bullpen was actually pretty decent.
Mm-hmm.
And the offense didn't come through when they needed to.
Mm-hmm.
What changed? Let me ask you another question.
Keep going.
For the past 2 years, maybe more, take out October, what's the Padres' record against the Dodgers?
Oh, terrible.
Right.
Just terrible.
Why is everybody acting like it's the end of the world when it's May 15th?
I don't know that I would call it end of the world. I think, and I was looking for it in my phone, I read an article this morning. I don't know if you guys read this article or not, in The Athletic by, what's the kid's name? Ken Rosenthal. You know, the guy who's actually...
I wouldn't say kid, but yeah, that's
the man.
Ken Rosenthal, yes.
Yeah. I don't know. I just call everybody a kid, you know? Rosenthal wrote this article. I'm trying to find it. I'll find it. Where he essentially says, and I think he was there because on Saturday, the game was on Fox.
Mm-hmm.
And he was there doing, like, sideline reporting, dugout interviews. And he wrote a whole piece today in The Athletic. I will
Why
find
the
it.
Dodgers, not the Padres, remain the standard in the National League West.
Right. And he goes through this whole thing about how the Padres, the way he would phrase it, I'm paraphrasing, the Padres are a really expensive collection of individual talent right now. And the Dodgers, believe it or not, with all the guys that have left this team, guys in important positions, the core of the Dodgers is still, it's been there, so to speak. And
What?
hold on, relax. And Rosenthal's thought is that the Padres are just a bunch of guys they've put together and gave big paychecks to. The Dodgers are a team that has been cultivated over time. And even when you lose a Trey Turner or you lose a Justin Turner or you make a trade to get a Max Scherzer and he only sticks around for a little bit, or you lose a Corey Seager, the Dodgers have a way organizationally of keeping excellence going. And the Padres don't have that track record, which just gets me back to the whole Clayton Kershaw crying thing. Organizationally, here's my message to the Padres. Do something before you win. Win something before you start acting like the Yankees.
What
or
do you
the
win?
Dodgers.
What do you win in May?
Right.
A little bit of a little humble, a little organizational humility would probably be good for the Padres right now.
This is the unfortunate other side of when you garner a lot of attention before the season starts with big name signings. If it doesn't go well out of the gate, this is how people behave. The idea that the Dodgers are some kind of standard because they have these guys who they've been paying a lot of money for a long time, so they're cohesive. When did Mookie Betts get there? Like, they pay guys the most money, and when they didn't win, people trashed them for it. That's what's happening here. When the Yankees, who have been doing this for decades, pay guys the most money, when Garrett Cole sucked, people lost their mind because the Yankees paid him so much money and they didn't play well. The people are killing the Mets because they paid their roster so much money and they're not playing well. This is what happens. It's
right.
May.
That's
like,
right.
I don't. This
That's
idea
right.
that
Tune in to St. Louis radio today.
Correct.
The Cardinals are 16
correct.
and 25.
Yeah.
Just because
a team that perennially wins the NL Central.
You win in baseball because when you pay people, this ain't you can't just put a bunch of minor league. Oh, we draft this guy, and it all worked out, and here we are. You have to pay guys. That's how you win in this sport.
But that's what they're saying. What I don't understand what you're getting crazy about. It's the first segment of the show, bro. What he's saying is they went out and they paid a whole bunch of money, and thus far the results are 19 and 22 through the first 40 some odd games. And when you go head to head against the Dodgers, a team that lost a whole bunch of talent and didn't go spend all this money, and yet the Dodgers still dominate you. You don't see that as a small issue here in May? No, it's early. Forget about it. It's early. See, the thing is, last year it was steady, not getting high, not getting low. But the difference is, Alex, to your point about St. Louis, or Browner, your point about the Mets, when you have expectations and you have spent all this money, you expect better results, do you not?
The Dodgers have one of the highest payrolls in baseball.
Not as high as the Padres.
We're upset because they're not playing well. And if the Dodgers weren't playing well, by the way, people in LA would still be upset because they still have a massive payroll.
But they're not. They're not.
Didn't play well to start the season.
Yeah, and they are playing well now,
yeah.
and people are happy about it. But Padre fans are feeling the opposite because the team right now, for all the money that has been spent, is terrible. And the fact of the matter is, I just want last thought. The fact of the matter is this: we as Padres fans wanted the Padres to do this forever. Go spend the kind of money the Dodgers spend, and thus far, in spending that kind of money through 40 some odd games, they're 19 and 22. They're third in the division. And all the spending hasn't turned into running away so far.
Right. And I think to your point, and we're talking about as an organization and as a city and as a fan base, you people have no idea how to act. You people have no idea how to act when you don't meet expectations because it's all brand new. It's all brand new. Ken Rosenthal is correct about one thing. The standard is the Dodgers. But the Dodgers weren't the standard in 2008 when they started their whole supremacy over the National League West. This is an infancy stages because the Padres have been spending money for what, this is their third year now where they've increased like significantly their payroll. And one thing that I learned last year is you don't win, and I almost said S, it really almost came out. You don't win anything. You don't win anything in April, in May. Ask the Dodgers, the team that you beat in October when all three of us were there on that Saturday night. And I'm not going to keep referencing that series as the pinpoint of like why I won't panic all year. Yeah, if the team's 10 games below 500 in September, obviously something
That's a
didn't
problem.
work out. Right.
Right.
But if you go back historically, if you go back in the history of baseball, ain't no one won Jack S in May. Nothing. So everyone needs to learn how to react and how to act. As an organization, if people are ready to blow this thing up because you're 19-22 or whoever's grumblings about Peter Seidler, and where I'm already getting tweets about fire Bob Melvin. It's like everybody needs to learn to act like what we are now. You are a top spending team. Relax, bro. I'll relax. Everyone chill.
This isn't like before when you didn't play well in the beginning of the season and then it was just over.
It was over.
Because now you know your guys aren't good. You got multiple all-stars on this team that can carry a team for a week or two if they get hot. Now, if you get 2 or 3 of them hot at the same time, you can have a great 2 months. So watching people panic and run like their hair is on fire just shows people are used to losing. That's all it tells you. People are used to losing because they are comfortable. They know what that loser feeling feels like. And so that's why the panic sets in. They don't know what it's like to win. Because when you win, you know everything will be all right. The baseball season, I said this like a million times last year. There will be ups and downs, ebbs and flows, peaks and valleys, because that's the baseball season. There have been 40 games played. There's still 120 left to go.
And then in years past, when you were 19-22 in May,
it was over.
And you looked at this.
No, you were celebrating.
No, but you would look at this lineup and like, who's going to get us out of this? Alexi Amarista? Corey Spangenberg?
Right.
You know, like
Khalil Venable.
You know what I'm saying? Like, so when you go back in years past and the Padres started slow or they started fine and then it all started blowing up, you would look at this roster and be like, well, that's kind of what it is. But now it's so easy to be like, hey, you already have the guys who are not year 1 or 2 guys that have started well. These are career all-stars, MVPs, World Series champions. It's May 15th. You're not going to look around and be like, oh, crap, we got nothing. Yeah, you can point at Austin Nola and you could point at Trent Grisham. And but what team doesn't have that? What team doesn't have a weakness? But when you look at your guys and everybody that you paid money to, they just haven't done it yet. That doesn't mean they're not going to do it all year. They just haven't done it yet.
Right. But I think
they've had listen, this is just excuse making now, but they've
keep going because you are making a lot of excuses today, and that's cool.
They've had the 3rd toughest schedule, and now they have the 2nd easiest schedule remaining the rest of the way.
And
they play the Royals this weekend, who are ass.
Yep.
And they literally, you need to basically sweep the Royals.
The schedule gets easier. Right. The schedule gets easier, and you got to go out there and you got to start banking wins. Here's the thing.
When you look at this weekend.
Yeah.
When you look at this weekend, it's so evident what needs to change, and I think it will. I think that's where I'm trying. Like, am I excuse making? Sure, but do I feel confident in the fact that Mookie Betts hit 2 clutch home runs?
Mm-hmm.
Will Smith was great. Freddie Freeman was great. Their all-stars were great because that's what all-stars do. Our all-stars haven't done it yet. That's it.
The same Freddie Freeman that's been on the Dodgers for a decade? That Freddie Freeman?
Yeah.
Or you mean the one that they just got from Atlanta? Oh, because Ken Rosenthal was saying, oh, they got the cohesion. They've been together for so long. Because
no, I think what Ken Rosenthal
been on the Red Sox.
I think what Ken Rosenthal is saying, because I know you didn't read the piece, and actually I think it's a very good piece. I think it makes a lot of sense. No, everybody understands Freddie Freeman's only been a Dodger for a year and change. Okay. And yes, Mookie Betts did come from the Boston Red Sox. That's true. I don't remember how many years it's been, 3, 4, 5 years already now for Mookie Betts. But I think Rosenthal's point is, and you should go read the piece, Browner, is how many of the guys that they have been either homegrown or how they acquired them, how long they've been in the organization, et cetera, et cetera. I think it's a good piece because, listen, I agree with Rosenthal. The Dodgers are the standard. That's why the Padres are trying to get better and spend more and win the division, because the Dodgers are the team that you look at. No different than the Kansas City Chiefs are the team that everybody in the AFC West looks at. No. When you've won the division that many times in a row, you're the standard. Now, how did they get there? How did they build their roster? Organizationally, Browner, you realize that the Padres, their minor league system, which was number 1 in baseball, is now like 23rd because they've traded away so many assets. He's made some really solid points, you know? But here's what we're going to try and do today, because everybody got a different opinion. I'm surprised. I'm actually impressed with both of you guys. You're both in the pump the brakes mode. I'm in total panic mode.
You don't know how to act, bro.
Clearly.
I'm telling you.
Clearly.
So here's the thing.
What's the standard, right? If we're going to listen to Ken Rosenthal, the
Oh,
standard
Mr.
is
Rosenthal,
the Dodgers, right?
The
So
young
you think
fella.
if the Dodgers are 19 and 22 right now, the world would be burning? Or it's like,
No,
hey,
I
let's
think
just
people.
relax.
I think people would be like, "Hey, listen, they didn't spend and they didn't go replace, and they've lost a lot, and yeah, stands to reason they're 19 and 22." I think what they're saying is, look how they're doing this, even though they keep losing players.
Can I ask you a question about the spending portion? Because you keep saying spending, and Rosenthal is saying spending, people saying spending. So again, the idea that the Dodgers didn't go and pay Freddie Freeman, are we not talking about that anymore? Or they went and paid Mookie Betts. We don't talk about that anymore because Trey Turner didn't take their money because he wanted to go and play in Philadelphia, his hometown. Like that's we're just gonna pretend like they didn't try to sign him. So now, because they didn't spend all money one off season, now we're not going to talk about them spending money. Like they're not loading up to pay Ohtani $500 million. Like I just want to know.
I don't understand what you're not getting about this, though, man.
225 million. I don't understand what you're getting out of it.
What I'm getting at is pretty darn simple. The Padres last year found a way at the end of the season to make a great run. They beat the Dodgers in the postseason. They showed up this year talking about winning the World Series. It doesn't matter who they're playing. They're going to win the World Series. They've been talking a big game. Organizationally and as players, they've been talking a big game. And so far, their bats are not backing up their talk. It's really not an indictment on everything. It's very simply, as you guys have put it, thus far, we and they are disappointed in the way they are not performing. So it's pretty gosh darn simple. It really is. And when people see Fernando Tatis and Manny Machado and Juan Soto, and they're getting beat 4-0, and they're all giggling in the dugout, I don't make a monster deal of that, but a lot of people do. You know, when Manny Machado is getting done with a game after being swept, and he's talking about, we're still pressing, we may lose tomorrow. I mean, people are criticizing and they're nitpicking because they're actually paying attention. So I am curious to hear what the fans think. Browner got a strong opinion today. Grande got a strong opinion. I do too.
I'm reading the piece now. It's really funny to me.
Yeah.
I didn't read it this morning. I'm reading it now. Because like it's funny because now, you can classify the Padres in a very negative connotation at this moment. But in the offseason, go read Ken Rosenthal's drooling pieces over the Padres. It's just, but it's in the moment, and I understand that. But when you're like, oh, the Padres, now the Dodgers are carefully, if not perfectly constructed roster, where nobody said that in the summer or in the offseason.
Right, because now you're starting to see results.
And now the Padres, on the other hand, this is quote, the Padres, on the other hand, are a top-heavy, slapped-together collection of imported stars. So it's
but that's through 40 games. The Dodgers have given you more than you expected, and the Padres have given you less than you expected.
Who called the Dodgers in the offseason a carefully, if not perfectly constructed team featuring 10 homegrown players?
Yeah. The answer is
whoever said that.
The answer is nobody.
Exactly. It's in the moment. He's reacting.
Right.
He's writing the way people are reacting.
Because this is what the first 40 games tell you.
Exactly. But it doesn't tell you what it's going to say in October.
Right. But right now you start to take little indications. Geez, Dodgers look 5 out of 6 better than the Padres do. Doesn't mean that they're going to win in the postseason. We all saw what happened last year when nobody gave the Padres a chance. They found a way. So here's what we're going to try and do today. And I say try. Are we going to be able to pull this off, Brown? Or you always convince me that we're good. We can pull this off, no problem.
Oh, I have nothing to do with this. This is having nothing to do with this. I don't know.
Okay, here's what we're going to try and do today.
I trust Alex.
So do I. I trust him intimately. I do.
I'll say this for myself before you even ask the question.
Intimately doesn't mean sexually.
I'll say this: if it doesn't work, it's not because of me.
Bro, slow down with that. You need to rephrase that.
Intimacy does not always mean sexuality. I trust somebody intimately doesn't mean I trust them sexually.
Hey, man. Come
on,
bro.
Linguistics man.
That's all good, man.
Man of the language.
That's how you get down. Respect your choices, man. It's 2023.
All right, I'm going to explain this to everybody coming right back. Because if you're a radio listener, you're going to want to be a part of the YouTube show today. Stick around.
Intimately.
Intimately is right. We're in the 7 Mile Casino Studios here on Kaplan and Crew.
Hi, welcome to OG's.
Touching down this football season at OG's has never looked better. You can now eat pizza, drink beer, and earn rewards at select OG's locations. You won't miss a live game when you're watching at OG's. We're going all out, all game, all season long.
From New York City comes America's longest running and most popular rugby show. The biggest names in Major League Rugby, MLR highlights, and big match previews. Rugby Wrap-Up presents MLR Weekly, made in New York City.
Kaplan and Crew Tonight is brought to you by OG Sports Brewhouse Pizza, where you can eat pizza, drink beer, and earn rewards.
All right, great friends. Hey, we welcome you back inside the 7 Mile Casino Studios, 7milecasino.com. As promised, the head coach of the San Diego State basketball team. I'm wasting no time at all. Coach Brian Dutcher returns to Kaplan and Crew. Coach, how are you today?
Top of the world. I'm throwing out the first pitch tonight, so I'm good.
That is so cool. Have you ever thrown out a first pitch?
No, no, I haven't. I haven't won enough to throw out a first pitch. I guess I finally won enough to get a throw out one.
And have you?
You better get that arm ready there.
Yeah. Have you practiced at all, Coach?
No, I remember when Matt Sawyer used to take Coach Fisher out and they throw some warm-ups, but I'm just going to lob it up there. I'm not trying to throw heat or anything.
You do know, though, that everybody's watching. Like, if it's a good one, we're all going to go, wow, great job, Coach. But if it's really bad, I mean, everybody's going to have this video. I mean, no pressure.
No, I saw Pete Kelsey bounce one in this week, so I already know what it is.
Oh, yeah, and you should have seen Browner here down at the Chula Vista Little League this past Saturday. Also couldn't get to the plate.
Maybe I'll just set one on like T-ball. I'll set one on a tee.
Coach, the obvious place to start is huge congratulations to you, your players, the program, San Diego State as an institution, all the players that came before this group that contributed to the growth of the program. Huge congratulations. How different is your life 10 days after the Final Four in the national championship game?
You know, Scott, I'm so used to working that we got back on Tuesday. I was in the office Wednesday morning, and we're recruiting. We're trying to build next year's team. So as much as I enjoyed it, I'm not a guy that ever over-celebrates anything, even though it's something to be celebrated. I've got my eyes on next year and trying to put a team together that can be really good again.
Have you had a chance to think at all about, like, standing there on the floor inside a giant football stadium, knowing that you were on the biggest stage in college basketball? And as an assistant, you may have been there before a long time ago, but have you had any chance to just sort of think about what happened in those couple of days in Houston?
I always say, like, I'm a guy that likes to almost sit back and watch everybody enjoy the experience, but I enjoyed it myself too. You know, I told my assistant coaches on that elevated floor, I said, I'll see you guys at halftime. Make some notes. So it's a different experience to be up there and coaching on that stage on the biggest platform, and truly a platform, and just taking the time to look out into the crowd and seeing all the great Aztec fan base there to enjoy it. First time experience for all of us, me as a head coach, San Diego State as a participant in the city of San Diego, and just watch everybody kind of celebrate that moment, but at the same time, trying to figure out how to win games.
Yeah, it was an amazing run. It really was. Coach, I'd love to hear what you were thinking when Butler hit the shot that moved San Diego State from the Final Four to the championship game. Could you just go back to what was going on prior to that? Because everybody talked about there's still a timeout. Will he take it? Jim Nantz made mention on national TV. He doesn't have his shooters on the floor. Could you just go back to that sequence and what you were doing?
Yeah, it was like the possession before. We were down 3 and brought it up the floor, and I took a timeout. And I wanted to set up a play to try to get a 3 out of a sideline out of bounds. And if we didn't have the 3, throw it to Jaden Ledee and let him go one-on-one because he just scored one-on-one. And then we scored that basket. I took another timeout, and I looked at the time difference on the clock, and I felt even if they shot the ball, we'd have enough time to get down the length of the floor. And I told him at that time, we are not taking a timeout. And I said, we don't have shooters on the floor. I have 3 bigs on the floor. So cause a miss, get the rebound, get it to Lamont, make sure they're not doubling back trying to intercept that pass. And then you 3 bigs run to the rim, because if he misses, we'll have 3 bigs in to tip it in. And then Micah Parrish, you find space in case he needs to kick for a 3. And so I kind of had a thought in my mind what I wanted to do. But obviously players make the plays in March. Lamont made a magnificent play. They cut him off. He kind of crossed over, came back, and shot a beautiful pull-up jump shot to make me look good as a coach and us look good as a team.
Coach, what made this team different from the other 2 teams that you got to the Sweet 16? Obviously, you played UConn. You played big teams in those tournaments as well. But what separated this team from advancing? Like when you beat Alabama, and I think a lot of people thought you could beat Alabama, but when you did it, and then you had this crazy game against FAU, what made this team different as opposed to the other ones you've had in the past?
Yeah, this is the greatest team in Aztec history because of how far they went and what they did. I'm not sure it's the best team. So there's a difference. I mean, that Kawhi Leonard team with Malcolm Thomas, Billy White, DJ Gay, that was a team capable of winning a national championship. The X-Thames team with Poe Lee and J.J. O'Brien, Josh Davis, Skylar Spencer, that was a really good team too. But sometimes it's just the path lays out. You win games. And I'm just thinking back, like the other 5 seed was St. Mary's. They played UConn in the second round. What if we're that 5 seed and we play UConn in the second round and get beat? And we're talking about, hey, great, Dutcher got his first tournament win. But it just laid out for us where the path wasn't easy, but we took advantage of the path we had.
Coach, you have had the governor of California tweet about you, the vice president tweet about you, and you've got you guys had the city on fire for the program. How has that changed anything that you're doing going forward? And has it opened the door for the recruiting process to become a little bit bigger and a little bit better?
This is the talk we had back when we had Kawhi Leonard, Malcolm Thomas, Billy White. We won at such a level, they said, well, boy, you're really going to be able to go out and get some players now. We have players that just went to the national championship game. So we'll continue to recruit how we do. Recruit guys with chips on their shoulders that have a lot of potential, that are about the right things. And I like the way we've recruited over the years. So we'll continue to do what we do. Maybe it put us in front of a different kid or 2. But for the most part, we've got good enough players in this program to win in any conference and at any level.
Talking to Coach Brian Dutcher this afternoon. It's Kaplan and Crew, and Coach Dutcher is with us. We're still talking about this San Diego State run. And, Coach, I was telling the guys, we're not going to stop. You know, I want to keep talking to these kids. I want them to be known commodities in this town. We know their names, want to know their stories, want to know more about these guys. Because like you said, by virtue of what they accomplish, it's the greatest San Diego State basketball team ever. It doesn't necessarily mean it was the most talented or the best, but I want to keep going with these guys because they really did something special. And I just got to say that this Final Four run, it really entranced the whole city was into it. Like I've never seen anything like it before. And when Butler hit that shot, Coach, that is like one of the top 5 moments in the history of San Diego sports. Does everybody have a grasp on that quite yet?
No, and they asked me at the time how big Butler's shot was. I said, if we win the whole thing, they'll remember it nationally forever, but it'll never be forgotten in San Diego. So that shot will live in San Diego for as long as San Diego State is playing basketball and the city embraces college basketball. So it was an incredible moment. Nationally, it'll be remembered, but not like it would have if we won the whole thing.
Yeah, that's true. One of the best things is there's a picture of Lamont Butler and he's letting go of the ball. And for us, just being a little selfish, our man Alex here is standing in the background with his arms raised before the ball has even gone through the net. It was awesome.
I knew it was going in, Coach. Never had a doubt in my mind. I don't know about you, but I was confident from the stands.
Well, I'm thinking, is there time left on the clock? What do I have to do? I mean, I put both arms up, but then I was like, what if they put 0.2 of a second on the clock? So I'm still in coach mode. And the same thing can happen against UConn. To go to the Final Four, we really didn't get to celebrate. It's like they're going to put time on the clock. I'm convinced of it. So we have no timeouts. If it's their ball, here's what we're going to do to keep Kalkbrenner from throwing to the rim and getting a lob to tip in to beat us. If it's our ball, we want to throw deep. So all we have to do is touch it. And then the refs come over and say, no more time. So it's like a anticlimactic celebration to go to the Final Four. Mm-hmm. And same thing with Florida Atlantic. It's like, I'm convinced they're going to put time on the clock. They always do. And so when that moment happened, Dusty May was trying to shake my hand before the refs ruled it good. I said, Dusty, I'm not that guy. I want to make sure they count it before, we shake hands and we start celebrating.
Coach, I thought the most impactful thing throughout the tournament was I saw your team's true identity come to the surface. The amount of defense, the 40 minutes of defense from end to end that your team was able to play throughout each game, you could see it was frustrating these other teams you guys were playing because they were used to guys playing like that maybe a couple minutes a game, maybe a half. But when you guys were pressuring guys like that and defending like that the entire time, I think you guys wore a lot of people down. Were you able to get the guys to see that through film study? And did they pick up on it? Or was this just something that all year you guys were doing?
It's just our culture. Like when we do a shooting drill early in the year, like we want to make 120 in 2 minutes or whatever that is. And if we don't make it, a lot of coaches say, okay, on the line, down and back. And I'll say, okay, on the line, we're going to do some defensive slides. We're going to do shuffles. We're going to do this and that. Because I tell them there's games where, as open as we are, the ball's not going to go in. How are we going to win those games? When we're wide open, it's a great shot. It doesn't go in. Those are the games we're going to win with our defense. So it's just a mindset. It's a culture that we're going to be defense first. And as open as we are, sometimes the ball does not go in. And we're one of a handful of teams that are going to win games when the ball doesn't go in.
See, going into this tournament, Coach, and you know this well, but the country learned about it. Going into the tournament, you were 0-3 in the NCAA tournament as a head coach at San Diego State. Now you're 5-4.
Going over 500. That's not very good.
well, hey, it's better than being under 500. It's better than being 0-3. That all happened in one tournament. And what I thought was really interesting is how we have gotten the chance to see the development of the program. For a lot of America, people are like, wow, San Diego State. And then what they start to do is they say this, Brian Dutcher, one of the top college basketball coaches in the country. Like they start to talk about you differently. Are you a much better coach at 5-4 in the NCAA tournament than you were when you were an 0-3 record?
Well, hopefully I'll get paid like a better coach. But
coach
I've always been.
Yeah.
Richard, our sports information director, I asked Richard because I didn't know. I said, how many NCAA tournament games have I been on the bench? Not head coach, been on the bench. I think it was like 56 NCAA tournament games. So I just say now I'm 63. I know a lot more at 63 than I knew at 53, than I knew at 43, than I knew at 33. Even though at that time I thought I knew everything. Mm-hmm. So if you can survive in this business, those experiences pay off. And so I chose my path wisely. I knew I wanted to retire as a coach. Sometimes you think you're going to be the coach that takes a lesser school and resurrects it. And in 3 years, you're out of work and you can't find a job. So I thank Coach Fisher for keeping me along for that ride for so long. And, I was patient until I got the job I wanted, which was this one.
Yeah.
I want to ask a very open-ended question to you, Coach, and it maybe has to do with pay, maybe has to do with assistants, maybe has to do with conference. What is the future of this program now? You obviously the rumors of Pac-12, Big 12 realignment. Assistant coaches could get poached when you make a national championship run. We all know which players are coming and which players are leaving. What is the future of this program?
You know, we've been in the Mountain West my whole time here, and I always say we're a high major program in a non-Power 5 conference. I'm trying to paint us like Gonzaga. Gonzaga's in the WCC, but they're looked at as a high major program. I think the West Coast always believed that San Diego State plays high major basketball, but now the nation's kind of been made aware of that. So I think it's upped our branding in the nation. West Coast, it's always been good. So if we make a conference move, you know, I'm not stressed over it. I know we're a good enough program to survive wherever we end up. And whether it's in the Mountain West, we'll continue to have a high major program in the Mountain West. If we're in the Pac-12 or Big 12, our intention is just to compete at the highest level in those conferences. So those all happen at a level beyond me. Whatever decisions are made by John David Wicker and President De La Torre, you know, I'm in support of, and wherever we end up, whether it's staying here or moving on, we'll be ready for that challenge.
Coach, you guys have you spoke about this actually when the interview first began about getting back to the business of coaching. You were already recruiting again. With the transfer portal being such a vital process to San Diego State before it became a national thing, before guys started talking about all this talks about transfer portal, you guys were already locked in and recruiting that way, using transfers to build the program. Now that everybody is such a focal point of the transfer portal, has it changed the way that you guys operate within it?
It's all NIL. You know, NIL is everything in the portal right now. And, you know, some of these players are being offered $260,000. If you're a big center, you might get $1 million, like a Dickinson or a kid at Kentucky. And so there's a lot of money being thrown around in the portal. And so we have to navigate that. We're not throwing that money away. We're not paying like that.
Yeah. Hey, Coach Dutcher, congratulations to you, to your family, to the program, to the players, et cetera. Really amazing job. We really appreciate you always. And thanks for doing this with us today. And by the way, good luck with your first pitch tonight at the Padres game.
Well, the only way you'll see it is if I throw it in the dirt.
Kind of rooting for that, just like a little bit.
Yeah, I know. I knew if anybody would be, it'd be you.
Hey, Coach, we appreciate you. Thank you so much, and congrats.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Kaplan and Crew Tonight is brought to you by OG Sports Brewhouse Pizza, where you can eat pizza, drink beer, and earn rewards.
Dominating the SoCal radio airwaves for over 20 years. Join Scott Kaplan, Alex Padilla, and John Browner for Kaplan and Crew every Monday through Friday, 3 to 6 p.m. only on the Mightier 1090 ESPN Radio, SoCal Sports Talk, and the Mightier1090.com.
Hi, welcome to OG's.
Touching down this football season at OG's has never looked better. You can now eat pizza, drink beer, and earn rewards at select OG's locations. You won't miss a live game when you're watching at OG's. We're going all out, all game, all season long.
Murray Lampert now brings architectural and interior design to a whole new level for your remodel, ADU, or whole house build.
We're truly a team at Murray Lampert Design, Build, Remodel, and we don't take that lightly.
Visit murraylampert.com.
All right, great friends. Hey, what's happening? It is a Monday afternoon. This is Kaplan and Crew from the 7 Mile Casino Studios, 7milecasino.com. It seems like the three of us come onto the air today, and all three of us are thinking Padres-Dodgers this weekend, where the Dodgers swept through the Padres. It seems like we're all thinking about it more so. Like I know on Friday night, I was all into the Lakers and the Warriors, and the Lakers bombing the Warriors. And the Lakers, I mean, Alex, I suppose this is probably maybe your best example. I mean, if you're going to tell Padre fans, chill out, bro, it's 40 games. Okay. I mean, aren't the Lakers like the poster child for chill out? When you're 2-10 or you're in 12th place in the conference, and all of a sudden you make all these trades and you're dealing with all these injuries. And in really essentially the last 8 games of the regular season is where you really, really put your team together. And now you find yourself in the Western Conference Finals going in as a 7 seed and having to play your way in, or were they a 10, or whatever it was. I mean, aren't the Lakers a prime example of everybody just chill?
Yeah. I mean, I had this thing that I saw this weekend. I mean, just look at this. I mean, through the first 40 games, the last 4 seasons, the Phillies were 18-22. The 2021 Braves were 19-21. The
That's where the
2019
Padres are,
Nationals
yeah.
were 16-24. The 2018 Dodgers were 16-24. All
Not the
4 teams
Dodgers.
went on to win the National League pennant.
Not
Because
Well,
you
that-
don't win anything in May.
But that's exactly what you guys were saying earlier. It's like, hey, this is what the story is today. This does not mean that the story won't change over the next 120 games. It probably will, based on the talent and the money that's been spent. But right now, what are you guys? You guys happy with what the Padres have done so far? You guys pretty impressed?
No,
No,
what
who's saying
I would
that?
say what I'm happy with is I can look on that roster and be secure that I believe through track record, almost 7 of the 9 everyday guys will figure it out. Again, this isn't, like Alex said, this isn't the roster from 5 years ago, where if you start like this, you go, man, it's going to be a long year. It's just not. So all these guys have such a positive track record of success. I believe in the track record of success that I've seen from these guys statistically than I do of any panic setting in because of what they're doing right now. The only reservation I had of anybody on this roster was Juan Soto, and that's semi been cured. So, let the games be played.
I think the only thing that I am truly concerned about is that because you are falling 7 games already behind the Dodgers, that you can't win a division this early, but you can certainly lose one. And that is probably my only thought about what's happening so far is if you don't figure it out, you could easily become a wild card team again, which is probably not what anybody wants. But that's my only real big concern so far. I'm looking at a team that's not getting annihilated. I'm looking at a team that is in every game. I'm looking at a team that's getting people on base, but they're not performing while on base. I'm looking at a team that has a lot of talent. I'm looking at a team that my biggest concern was the rotation. Seth Lugo pretty good. Michael Wacha seems to be figuring it out. Even Blake Snell, the last 2 against the Dodgers, he was actually pretty good. And everybody's like, oh, Joe Musgrove was awful. Dude, bloop single made a mistake to JD Martinez. Like, I am not looking at a team that I'm overly concerned. Like, oh, dude, we're like, this is a bad team. I don't look at it like I'm really reading Rosenthal. He's saying like there's a terrible patchwork team. I don't see that. I'm watching every game. Not yesterday, but I'm watching every game, and I'm seeing a team that is in every game.
But wait, are you about to pull a Laker-esque type of boycott on the Padres that you're not going to watch them until they get back to 500? Did you tell us that yesterday in our group chat?
I was very much so contemplating it.
You did say that.
I was very much contemplating it, and people were actually tweeting me about it. They're like, are you going to implement a boycott until the team gets above 500?
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's too soon for that. I saved that for the very end with the Lakers because there was real panic there. And if it come, here's the thing that Browner didn't know that he did for me. Him holding my feet to the fire about not getting excited or not. You know how even keeled I am now after a year of training?
Oh my God. Wait, time out. I'm so envious. Alex, I'm so envious. Browner, a year ago, if the Padres were 19-22 and had just lost 5 out of 6 to the Dodgers, this would have been me a year ago. Hey, it's pre-All-Star break.
Mm-hmm.
I promised I wasn't going to get emotional.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Promised I wasn't going to have overly strong opinions. Okay, that was a year ago, even keel.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I'm not like a fan panicking as much as I'm laughing that we forever were told we could never spend like the Dodgers, therefore could never compete. And now that the Padres are spending even more than the Dodgers are still spanking the Padres around during the regular season, and the Padres are sub 500, and all this money that's been spent has yet to really produce. And for me, if I'm being honest about it, there's a part of me that's like, everybody wanted the Padres to spend like the Dodgers, and now that they are, it's not exactly working out the way they'd anticipated. To your point, that may change, but thus far, all of these dollars that have been spent, they're a 19-22 ball club. Alex, you put that tweet up there that all these teams in the last 4 years had bad records at this time of the year, and they all went on to win the pennant, the NL pennant. Everything could change. I love what you guys are selling me today, which is with all of the track records of all of these all-stars, why are we freaking out? And it's your fault, Alex. It's your fault.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you would have said to me, hey, let's do it again this year where we have just total calm until the All-Star break, right now, I'd be like, hey, whatever. I'm not getting crazy. But now I'm like, they organizationally should check themselves and actually do something before they act like they've already done something.
I will say this. Even keel when things go negative. But if roles were reversed, where the Padres beat the Dodgers 5 out of 6 and had a 7-game lead in NL West, I'd be up here like, it's a new era, baby.
World Series. World Series.
Right.
Yeah.
But
I'd have been like Fernando Tatis. Like, it doesn't matter who we play. We're going to win the World Series.
Yeah, but because the Padres didn't light the world on fire last year, and because Tatis never came back, and because Browner was holding my feet to the fire, I never got excited, and I never got that high, and I never got that low. The Padres last year, guess what they were? Were they good last year? Like, were they setting the world on fire last year? No, they weren't. So we'll see.
I just want to be even keel again.
And you said something about organizationally, and you also said something in the first segment about how there are people in the front office who don't agree with Peter Seidler's direction on what he did with the spending in the team. The fans do.
Well, that's
all that matters.
The fans have turned Peter Seidler into a
hero.
Right.
Yes.
And there are people on the inside.
Rightfully so.
Yeah.
Rightfully so.
Well, if it works.
No, see, now, here's where I have no blame for Peter Seidler. Whether it works or not, as a fan, what you want your owner to do is jump through hoops and run through walls to make sure that he puts the best team he could possibly find on the field to compete. Then it's up to the athletes. That's what he did. He went out and got the best guys available, and if for whatever reason it doesn't work out, it doesn't mesh, my problem not with him. My problem's with the players, because it's his job to cut the checks, and he spared no expense in cutting the checks. So I don't have a problem with him. And so if you are in that building and you're like, oh, I disagree with it, get out. Get out.
Yeah. You
Work
can't
somewhere
go,
else.
You can't go from praising a guy for doing what an owner is supposed to do, is putting you in a position to succeed. And that is what Peter Seidler's done.
He did it so well. The Colorado Rockies owner started complaining that he was spending too much money for the size of his market, because that guy doesn't want to spend money, because that guy doesn't respect his fans. You find an owner who respects their fans and wants to give to them. You have to respect that and appreciate that. Now, whether it works out or not, that's on other people.
That's on the players.
Yeah.
That's on the coach.
All I'm saying is that as fans, the more he spent, the happier the fan base was.
Yes.
I'm telling you that there are some people inside that organization. That's okay. People can have disagreements, who are thinking to themselves, geez, are we overspending way beyond? And are we getting the right guys? And will it all work? And by the way, we got a long time to figure that answer out, because all these guys have 10-year contracts.
Yeah.
Except one guy, and that's Soto. So let's do this. Call it a timeout. Here's the thing. Everybody's got a strong opinion. Some people might think the sky is falling. You got swept by the Dodgers. You've lost 5 out of 6. The team is sub 500. They can't hit with runners in scoring position. There are some statistics that tell you they're the worst in baseball. And when you have this kind of payroll, you should never see those kinds of numbers. So there are a lot of fans that want to sound off. So Grande, what was your idea here today on how we're going to get great friends and opinionated listeners who want to get onto the show today How are we going to actually pull this off? Let me hear how this is going to work.
The way it'll work,
Mm-hmm.
or the way it did, you got an email from us.
Okay, so so earlier today, we sent you an email. If you're part of our 15,000 person email list, you received an email from us. So this is not going on Twitter. It's not going on Instagram. We're not texting it to you like we have in the past. If you're part of our email list, you received an email from us earlier today, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
In theory.
Right. Now, if you received that email, you want to show us the email? Because there's a link, I think, on the email itself, right?
Yeah.
Like you click into the link and it's kind of like going to a Zoom waiting room kind of a thing. All right, here Alex is showing it to us right now.
Yeah,
For
so
those
you
of you
get-
listening on radio, you got this email. What does it say, Alex?
Padres dressed up by the Dodgers have lost 5 in a row. They are now 19-22 in the season, already 7 games back from the Dodgers and NL West. Today, we are letting you sound off on the Friars. Join us today at the time with the link. This will be a video chat, so make sure your camera's on. All you got to do is click the link.
Okay.
Very simple.
Right. Just by the way, since you have the email up, and just scroll through it here. We give you a poll question. What's the poll question? It's too small for me to see.
How worried are you about the Padres?
Okay. And what are the answers?
Panicked, kind of worried, probably lost the division already, or not worried at all. It's early.
I'm going to go with B. So if you click on the poll in the email, Alex, what this is going to do is I believe it's going to take you right back. There it is. Takes you right to our website. Who's that handsome young fella right there? Takes you right to our website and takes you right to our poll. So
far, 42% of people agree with me and Browner. Not worried at all. It's early.
Okay. What's the other?
33% say you, Scott, kind of worried, probably lost division already, and 24% say panicked.
Panicked. See, this is my point. There are so many opinions out here. So now if you go back to the email, here's the bottom line. We sent you an email earlier in the day. You get the email. We gave you the exact time. You click on the link. You come into our waiting room, and we're going to put you on video. But here's the key to all of this. This isn't happening on radio. I don't know if it will happen on television. I know for sure it'll happen in YouTube during the uncensored portion of the podcast, and everybody on audio podcast will hear it. Grande, my thought on this is if everybody watches their mouth and people are not cursing, we might actually take like a fan segment and put it on TV on Cox YurView. If everybody's cursing like crazy and it's just completely uncensored like the podcast is supposed to be, then it just stays on YouTube.
Yeah, I'm probably just going to make it a YouTube thing. I'll probably just say that now.
Yeah?
Yeah.
All right. So look, hopefully you get our emails. If you don't get our emails, go to our website, kaplanandcrew.com, scroll all the way to the bottom of the page and sign up for our email list. 15,000 of you have gotten our email so far today. What do you think about that, Browner? You think that's good?
I think that's great, but it can be better.
I know. We got to get our email list up bigger than 15,000, don't you think?
Yeah. And you know what I thought worked really well for us? The texting. That was cool.
Texting was great. But then Alex's buddy left that texting company, and there went our deal.
How dare people leave jobs? What's wrong with them?
I know. Why do your friends change jobs? That affects the show.
Don't they know we got a show to do?
I mean, we still had it. We just had to pay for it, and we said, "No, we're good."
Yeah, we're good.
Again, we don't want to pay for it. We want to
right.
Use it.
You want your friends to work there.
What kind of idea? Pay for something to use it? Well, no, man. Just let us use it.
All right, let's do this then. Let's since you gave everybody 3 options. Are you panicking about the Padres? Are you thinking, that, hey, they've already lost the division? Or are you thinking, hey, relax, it's early? If you have an opinion like that, make sure you go to your email, click on our link, and you'll join us during the uncensored portion of today's show. Grande, why don't you back us up? Let's go through what actually happened this weekend.
Yeah.
Because it's really not pretty. I mean, bottom line is it's kind of like a basketball game. If in one basketball game you get 20 points from Draymond Green and you get 25 points from Andrew Wiggins, you win that game. But when you get nothing from Andrew Wiggins and you get nothing from Draymond Green and you go from 45 points in one game to 10 points combined in the next game, there's the difference in the game. The difference between the Padres and the Dodgers was the Padres stars, call them a big 4, they didn't really perform. The Dodgers stars call them a big three. They actually did. Therein lies your difference.
Yeah.
Simplifying things, of course.
Sure. So what happened this weekend?
Okay. Show it to us.
The Padres stars did not show up, whereas the Dodgers stars did show up. The Padres big four. I said four, which would be Soto, Machado, Tatis, Bogarts. Game 1, 4 hits, no RBIs, 2 strikeouts. Game 2, 4 hits, 1 home run, 1 RBI. That's Soto. Game 3, 2 hits, no RBIs, 4 strikeouts. On the other side, I put the Dodgers big three, being Mookie Betts, Freddie Freeman, Will Smith. If you think they have a fourth, tell me who it is. I wouldn't even know where to start. Game 1, 4 hits, 2 home runs, 4 RBIs. Game 2, 4 hits, 1 RBI. Game 3, 2 hits, 1 home run, 2 RBIs. Will Smith didn't even play on Sunday because they didn't need him.
And
Manny
by
Machado,
the way,
0 for 11 this weekend.
Manny Machado, 0 for 11. This is when you either start to love Manny or you hate Manny, depending on your perspective, because when Manny's not doing well and the team's not doing well, that's when these reporters want Manny to be Manny, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what did he have to say for himself?
I think we're doing everything we can out there, and stuff's just not going our way. It's all right. Just keep our head up and come out tomorrow. We might lose tomorrow. We might not. Who knows? But got to go out there and perform.
Okay.
What's wrong with that?
Nothing wrong with it.
I think when his confidence and also mixed with his annoyance of reporter questions when things aren't going well, and quite frankly, when things are going good, he's great. He's great. He's a great quote. He's a great person to ask in the locker room because it appears he never runs away. He may be super annoyed and very, confrontational with his answers, but that's what you want. You want a guy to stand in that locker and go, you know what? That's a dumb question.
Let me also.
I love it. Why?
I hate when players tell reporters that their questions are bad. Like they're experts in question asking.
What if they are bad?
Well,
right.
I mean, but I just really find a way to
are there all A+ reporters in that locker room?
No, certainly not.
Are they 100% tenacious while asking questions? I don't know.
It's a chuckle hut in there.
You know what the worst question is?
Let me hear.
Talk me through your emotions while you were going through that.
Oh, nice.
What the hell do you think?
Hey, you want to hear a really bad question? Did you guys happen to see that Lakers-Warriors game on Friday night?
Yep.
Yes.
Did you see the end of the first half when Austin Reeves hit that half-court shot?
Oh, Lisa Salters, that is an F-.
Girlfriend?
What'd she say?
I'm going to tell you. I love Lisa Salters. She's an angel.
I do too.
I work with her a lot during Monday Night Football, and I'll tell you guys right now, she is an absolute angel to work with.
And a professional.
Total. So Reeves hits this shot at the end of the first half. Let's go over to Lisa. Here's what she says. Swear to you. And I'm paraphrasing, but I'm pretty close. Austin, I did not see what just happened.
Yes.
Can you walk us through it?
Can you walk us through it? There you go.
Bro.
Oh, my God.
Why would you tell the world I was unable to see that half-court shot as opposed to, hey, Austin, how did that just happen? Like something very open-ended that doesn't make an admission that you missed the entire thing.
Also, by the way, you got Scott, this crowd into a frenzy. Break down how you did it. Scott,
when you
hey, I didn't see it. What happened, bro?
Scott, when you say who made you an authority of what is and isn't a good question, who would know more than players that are asked questions every single day?
I don't know, man. I don't really.
You don't like it, but that doesn't mean that
they're
not experts in being asked questions.
The question I have is, are they experts in asking questions? Are they experts in formulating?
So they know, hey, that's, how when somebody asks you a good question and they go, that's a good question.
Mm-hmm.
And when somebody asks you a bad question. Yeah.
All right, let me do this. Let's keep rolling.
I'm going to disagree with Scott today. I'm on Team
That's
Browner.
okay. I like that. I don't mind. Here's a question for you.
Be careful over here. It's hot.
Where are the Padres bats? Where are they? Padres got swept by the Dodgers. It's definitely our lead story. We're in the 7 Mile Casino Studios. Don't go anywhere. This is Kaplan and Crew.
Thank you for joining us. Catch Scott Kaplan and Crew tonight from 7 to 8 p.m. Pacific every Monday through Friday. The very best from today's Scott Kaplan and Crew show on the mightier 1090 AM ESPN Radio, SoCal Sports Talk.